Hello and welcome to Business Sense. I'm Ralph Rivas. For today's episode, we have the founder and CEO of the Philippine Digital Asset Exchange, or PDAX, Nichel Gaba. Nichel, of course, founded this company, PDAX, the Philippines homegrown cryptocurrency exchange. So, hi, Nichel.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Now, you started off as a banker and a trader. So, what's the difference with those asset classes that you've held before as compared to cryptocurrency? And why are you a strong believer now in the crypto space?
Well, yeah, you're right. So I had come from traditional finance, and I think what I'm coming to realize is that the differences between traditional financial instruments and crypto assets are becoming fewer as the years go by. I think initially there was a lot of uncertainty and maybe lack of understanding around what cryptocurrencies really are. But now what we're seeing is that. Because cryptocurrencies and the technology behind cryptocurrencies are making markets more efficient. We're beginning to see cryptocurrencies being used as alternative financial instruments. So, certainly, I'm very excited about what else cryptocurrency can be used for going forward. But now we're seeing crypto assets like Bitcoin behaving similarly to gold. We're seeing Ether powering a lot of applications and enabling the use of smart contracts and so forth. So definitely a very, very exciting space. And that's why I'm super bullish about where this is all going to go.
Mm. Now, I always ask this to the executives I talk to regarding crypto. No, where does crypto derive its value from? Say, I mean, gold, it's pretty understandable. Money, you can understand that, but crypto, where
Mhm.
does saan nanggagaling yung value na yun, and why is it so volatile?
Right. Look, I'm sure this question has been on people's minds, from the very beginning, particularly because today Bitcoin is at 43,000 US dollars. Now, I think to answer that question, we have to really understand first what does it mean to have underlying value or tangible value. More and more kasi today, when we talk about value, what we really mean is market value. Something is worth X because some other person is willing to buy that for X, right? And today, we buy and sell gold in the open markets. We value the Philippine peso because you can use it to exchange for a good or a service. In the same way, cryptocurrencies today can be bought and sold in the open market. And you can also use cryptocurrencies to buy goods and services. And that's really where the value is coming from. Now, syempre, we're also seeing a lot of volatility. And that's really because people are still discovering what crypto could be used for. And so there's a lot of, I guess, there's a lot of excitement and in markets, right? It doesn't matter if it's crypto, the stock market behaves similarly. Whenever there's a lot of excitement about a particular asset, it tends to go up rapidly in price, and that's all that we're seeing here, Ralph.
Mm. Now, of course, when it comes to stocks, merong fundamentals yan, di ba? I mean, when a certain company announces earnings, for instance,
Right.
stock movement is expected. So, when it comes to crypto, what are the key milestones ba, or I don't know, what are your observations ba? Anong nagpapakagalaw sa presyo ng
Sure.
crypto?
Sure, that's a great question. Look, I think when we say cryptocurrency, part of the challenge is that we can't lump all of them in one category, right? Because they behave very differently from one another. Um, now, I'll talk about Bitcoin first, right? What is Bitcoin? Well, Bitcoin is a digitally scarce instrument, meaning you cannot make more of Bitcoin. You also cannot counterfeit Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is traded pretty much everywhere in the world today. So if it's scarce, then similar to other scarce assets being traded today. It tends to go up in price whenever there's fears about inflationary concerns. People look to gold as a safe haven, in large part because gold is has a fixed supply. Now, Bitcoin, if you look at the journey that Bitcoin has taken from its very beginnings, it's tracked pretty much how we viewed gold, right? In that, whenever there's more acceptance of Bitcoin globally, we see an uptick in prices, and that's because the supply is fixed, right? And maybe I would point to a couple of things, right? Last year and the year before that, governments around the world began regulating the use of crypto assets, right? Whether it's used in remittances or in as trading instruments. We're seeing central banks, SECs, and other regulators create more rules. And as you know, when there are more rules, there's more clarity. And with more clarity, more companies and more investors are entering into the space. So again, more people, more investors coming into the space, and then limited yung supply ng asset. That tends to drive more market demand. Or that tends to drive up prices. So yeah, crypto, like any other asset, its price behave similarly, right? It responds to supply and demand.
Mm. Now, when it comes to crypto, we've seen a boom when it comes to the usage for games. For instance, nandiyan yung Axie Infinity. Uh, saan pa ba nagagamit yung crypto these
Mhm.
days, here in the Philippines in
Yeah.
particular?
Right now, crypto is most widely used in remittances, right? And people don't notice this so much because we're not talking about individuals na nagpapadala ng crypto to one another around the world. We're talking about companies or traditional remittance companies no longer coursing remittances through the dollar. They're using crypto on the back end, and we're seeing about maybe $500 million a year enter the Philippines through crypto. Okay, so number one probably is remittances. Number two, um, as an alternative investment. Now, syempre nung pandemic, there were a lot of inflationary fears around the world, right? So, if takot ka na our government is gonna print more money, then you would probably want to buy something that's traded everywhere, right? And cryptocurrencies were able to serve that need, no? And then there's so many applications today. So you mentioned kanina, play to earn is one where dati pag maglalaro ka ng game, and I remember this because I also played a lot of games. Whatever progress you make on one game doesn't matter because hindi mo siya mailalabas from the game. And pag nagsara yung game or tumigil na yung support or wala ka nang pwedeng gawin, then all of that value is lost. Pero today, you can actually own in-game assets. So, a good example of that is Axie Infinity, di ba? So, now you can own Axies, play using your Axies on Axie Infinity, and then you will earn reward tokens. So that's one use case, but certainly there are many more. Probably we're only barely scratching the surface on what else can come after play to earn.
Hmm. Now, what about NFTs?
Mhm.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Filipinos are still wrapping their head around cryptocurrencies. Pero ito na naman, may NFTs na naman na kailangan
Yeah,
intindihin. So far, ano yung practical uses niya here in the Philippines? Kasi I understand the hype abroad, there's already some usage of NFTs. Pero here in the Philippines,
mhm.
ano na ba? Anong adoption or ano na bang purpose ng NFTs so far?
The best way to understand NFTs is to understand siguro its non-crypto equivalents, no? So right now, through NFTs or in the form of NFTs. NFT stands for non-fungible tokens. in the form of NFTs, you can actually create artworks and sell artworks. Dati, if you want to create something, sell it, or have it auctioned off, you have to go through galleries. You have to have a name. But now artists everywhere can just create artwork and then publish them as NFTs and sell in the open market. That was never possible before. That was never easy to do before. Pero also other file types, no. Itong mga to, kunwari, they're just JPEGs, right? We could also see situations where music can become tokens, right? And for example, if you play a, let's say, a music token, um, you execute a smart contract and nababayaran yung artist, right? Every time you play that music, na wala na yung intermediary in the middle, like wala nang Spotify, wala nang Pandora, ganyan. So that's another probably future application. And think about the file types na you have on your computer. Diba? Merong JPEG for images, and you have MP3s for music. Eventually, you could also see other file types, quote unquote, in token form. And when it's in token form, you can have smart contracts there that pay the artist or that pay tokens to the listener even, right? So kumbaga, it's gonna change a lot of economic models that we see today around media, and that's all very exciting.
Mm. Now, with all the hype in cryptocurrencies, NFTs, and now the metaverse, what does it mean for PDAX? Anong
Mhm.
prospects ninyo?
Yeah. When people talk about the metaverse right now, what tends to be the case is ang daming excitement, but ang dami ring uncertainty. Ano ba tong metaverse na to? And the reason why it's uncertain, it's because we're still very early in coming to understand what exactly we can do in a completely decentralized digital world. But what's for sure right now is that you cannot take part in the digital world without an identity in the digital world. And yung identity mo in the digital world comes in the form of a wallet, right? Ano tong identity na to? What does that mean? Well, right now, if you're using social media, or if you're transacting online, you need an identity, and that identity tends to be your email or your Facebook account. In the metaverse, it will be a wallet, right? It'd be a crypto wallet or a crypto ID of some sort. Now, when we enter into the metaverse, you will need that, right? You will need an identity, and you will need to be able to put funds in and out, and that is the role that PDAX is currently playing, and it's the future that we're building for. Na pag marami ng metaverse applications, not just play to earn, no, but other applications, then you can come to PDAX and easily take part in those applications by converting your pesos into tokens safely, cheaply, and in a manner na is compliant with local laws and regulations.
Mm. Now, let's talk about funding naman for PDAPs. You've raised lots of funds lately. Um, do we expect more? And I don't know, possible other means to raise funds? Maybe an IPO sometime in the next couple of years. Is that on the table?
Well, right now, Ralph, what we're really thinking about is how to create solutions here in the Philippines to service what's to come, right? And um, crypto is a super fast-paced industry. Um, 12 months ago, we were only talking about DeFi. 18 months ago, we were talking about ICOs. 6 months ago, we were talking about play to earn. So sobrang bilis ng industry, and fortunately, or I rather unfortunately, it's very expensive to create solutions to for these no for these emerging use cases. So that's really the reason why we raise funds from investors to make sure in no to make sure in we can build really good solutions when that time for crypto comes here in the Philippines. We're not yet looking, I think, to IPO or whatnot. Ang priority talaga namin right now is to build products and solutions with the resources that we currently have. And yeah, as you know, we're 100% Pinoy. We a lot of our talent is also local. So um, uh, we're really prioritizing building up our capabilities right now.
Hmm. Anything that we have to look forward to this year or in the next couple of years in the medium term? What are your plans, projects? Yeah.
Yeah. So right now, I think well when we started 2021 last year, we started last year, we were about 40 people. Now we're almost five times that, and a lot of that growth has been in product and technology, right? And we're building many more features to add to our app, which will include other means to earn or generate returns using your crypto. We're also looking to add more tokens, right? So if you're playing a game right now and you're receiving rewards in terms of tokens, then hopefully down the road we can list and service you as well. So that's a lot of what we're doing now. More tokens, more features, scaling up the system in order to make sure that we can continue to service this rapidly growing industry here in the Philippines.
Mm. Now let me go back to the issue on regulation. Well, you have your necessary licenses for the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas already. So, what about anong comment mo in general when it comes to regulating crypto here in the Philippines and abroad? Kasi syempre, magkakaiba yung regulations din doon eh. So, how do these different regulations, sometimes conflicting, impact the entire crypto environment?
Mhm. You know what's unique about this industry is that it touches existing industries that are highly regulated, like financial services. If we're talking about social media innovations, probably wala masyadong rules in place, no? But we're talking about money, and whenever money is involved, trust has to be very high, and consumers have to be protected. So we understand that regulation plays a very very important role in the growth of the crypto industry. Um, it's not always easy to launch new products and services and um, not have rules around the space, or worse, there's because there's a lack of rules or lack of clarity around rules, we don't even get to launch or get the support of the ecosystem. Now, the way we view regulations, speaking for PDAX, is we think it's an essential tool, no, to ensure that the space goes further. And you can imagine lang, Ralph, if like in the 1800s, when the first car came to the market, you can just imagine if the government, or if the regulators did not get involved, not to create rules of the road, to create roads, to create standardized fuels or standardized cars, you might not see the car industry go mainstream, right? So rules are very important, and the crypto space is no different. The key is, when there are rules, everyone has to comply with the rules, and that's something that I think both the SEC, the BSP, and the private sector are working towards at this point.
Hmm. Now, as you mentioned just now, no, parang rules give clarity and better assurances both for companies and users. So, do you notice a rise in users as rules become clearer? How's the user base so far as PDAX is concerned?
Yeah, so right now we have about 700,000 users, and continues to grow. I think the more important shift that we started seeing, Ralph, is the entry of more sophisticated users, right? Dati, young people lang. Right now, we have users from all age brackets and all income segments, right? Dati, puro individuals lang. Now, we're seeing companies actually buying crypto as part of their reserves. Um, and also because, as you said, no, rules bring clarity, and clarity is something that companies can invest in, no, or like plan their future around. We're also seeing today companies use crypto in their day-to-day payments and financing needs. So it's not just the growth in users that we're seeing because of this clarity. We're also seeing sophistication in the types of uh, users that are coming onto PDAX and in the and into crypto in general.
Mm. So you mentioned 700,000 users. So is it safe to say you're aiming a million this year or over a million? Walk us through some targets. I know medyo ano medyo secretive yung mga companies sa mga ganyang targets in general, but give us a hint. What are your targets for this year?
Well, I think for PDAX right now, no, our biggest priority is to improve our platform, right? It's not so easy to scale up systems, right? So that's occupying most of our focus, just making sure that we can deliver the most stable and most reliable product out there in the market. And to be honest with you, growing the user base is somewhat secondary to us. We think that if we can deliver a great product that our users will continue to use and love, then the user base will come. So we're not even thinking about targets in terms of user count and whatnot.
Mm. Okay, now let's talk about security in the crypto space. Kasi, I mean, you're a legitimate platform, but meron din mga, ano dyan, may mga sketchy dyan na mga entities. So, how do you think that will be addressed? Paano natin ma-address yung mga ganun? And the issue on dirty money as well. Kasi it's a really important issue. Kasi anonymity is involved when it comes to crypto. So, how do you ensure that dirty money does not come in your system?
Hmm. Right. So, from the time that crypto first came to existence, the question has always been around how do we prevent money laundering in crypto? Well, the way we prevent money laundering in crypto is the same as we did it for the banking system, right? Users have to undergo what's called KYC, meaning if you're a bank or if you're a crypto exchange, you have to really know who your users are and where the funds came from. And if you detect anything suspicious, then you have to report it to the authorities. Now, I don't know if our listeners still remember, but there were days in the 80s and the 90s when bank robberies were so common. But today probably you don't see as much of that, no. And a big part of that is, well, kasi siguro traffic, right? Yung lang getaway car. But aside, a big part of that is probably because money laundering rules have tightened over the years. So, but here's the tricky part about money laundering or anti-money laundering rules. They only work if everyone complies, right? They only work if all the parties work together to stop it, right? So if you have an unregulated exchange, for example, not licensed by the PSP or is not subject to the same rules, then the entire monetary or the entire financial system can become a conduit for illegal activity or illicit funds, right? So that's why it's very important that while we while this industry grows, we start to think about how to take part in this emerging industry in a manner that protects the public, right? And you can do that by working with or by transacting through BSP registered crypto exchange. So yeah, over the years we've also, and it's not just because we're registered with the BSP or we're complying with the BSP. There are also new tools now, no, that registered exchanges need to use to track illicit funds through the blockchain, right? So that we can stop illegal activity, or we can uh, detect users who are doing illegal activity. So all of those things help to protect everyone at the end of the day.
And I guess mas kung nagiging high-tech, mas nagiging high-tech rin yung I mean, hacking is a big issue. For instance, yung Axie Infinity, magkano ba yung nawala?
About
625 million, I think, yeah. So,
Yeah.
your thoughts on that?
you know, look, uh, a lot of when products, no, particularly in tech, hit the market, there are always vulnerabilities. You can't eliminate all of them. In the case of in the case of this most recent hack, what we're hearing from the creators of Axie Infinity is that it's a result of phishing, right? Meaning there was someone nagpanggap and somehow was able to obtain the passwords or the keys, no, to the nodes supporting Ronin, and were able to take out funds. But here's the interesting thing. Uh, 5 years ago, if you were to hack a large exchange and get 300 million, $500 million, you probably will be able to liquidate that and enjoy your criminal proceeds. But today, it's very difficult. Yung $600 million na yun, actually, it's still sitting in the wallet of the hacker, right? And that's because guardiado yan. If you go to Binance, they know who you are. If you go to FTX, they know who you are, right? So this is also why the fact is that it's now very difficult to launder proceeds from a hack. And hopefully over time, this sends a message to all the would-be hackers out there. If you hack an exchange, or if you hack a bridge like Ronin, it's not so easy to get away with it anymore. In other words, crime will no longer pay.
Hmm. Now, let me just push that point further. What if that hacker, I mean, hindi lang in Axie Infinity, but in a general sense, like say a hacker or a person who has money from illegal means wants to liquidate. So yung gagawin niya siguro distribute it to lots of wallets in increments. Uh, Kaya pa ba yun, or kaya pa ba i-trace yun from where the original funds came from? Ano bang how high tech are we when it comes to detecting dirty money?
Mhm. I would say super duper high tech, right? Today there are companies like Elliptic, Chainalysis, TRM Labs. What they do is they map all the transactions on the blockchain, right? So Ralph, if meron kang kunwaring 10 BTC that you send to me, and yung 10 BTC na yun nanggaling pala kay person A, and then nanggaling kay person B, C, so forth. It These tools, no, that I mentioned, they can trace it back to the origins. So let's say nanggaling siya sa isang criminal, right? And we now know na wallet 12345 on the blockchain. Wallet 12345 belongs to a criminal. Then every transaction or every wallet that interacts with that becomes tagged, right? So it becomes very difficult, really, to launder money, just because even yung solutions today, no, to prevent money laundering have become far more sophisticated than they were in the very beginning of crypto. Iba na talaga ngayon.
Hmm. But here's the thing, Michelle. No, traditional banks are still pretty skeptical pagdating dito sa cryptocurrencies. So, if you were to talk to the top executives of traditional banks who would go as far as saying na parang they will never invest in crypto, despite all these ano ba, security features and the hype with crypto and the blockchain and the security features alongside with it, what would you tell them?
Mm. Well, I would tell them na I understand exactly why there's that skepticism. I had come from a very traditional global bank, and I understand na because banks deal with so much public wealth, right? They deal with people's money. They have to take things very conservatively, right? So I would say, and I really understand what they're going through, but the fact is that right now we're seeing this new technology change the way we conduct financial services globally, and this is not something that they can easily ignore. Case in point, I think about maybe 4 years ago, even JP Morgan, the CEO, had called crypto a scam, right? And 4 years later, they have a crypto trading desk. They invested in one of the largest crypto companies in the world. They had partnered with Consensus, which is the maker of MetaMask, and now they are trying to offer crypto to their wealth clients, right? So even the top bank executives can change their tune, no? And just that's because um, uh, uh, it's really becoming more mainstream now, and that it's still very easy to dismiss it.
So there you have it. Never say never, according to the
Yeah, walang forever pero wala ring never, di ba?
And on that note, thanks so much, PDAX founder and CEO Nichel Gaba. That has been another episode of Business Sense. I'm Ralph Rivas. Thanks for watching.